Hello Caterham racers, I hope you're all having a wonderful evening. I'm Scott Mansell from Driver 61. I've been lucky enough to race all of my life, including Caterhams, and have coached hundreds of drivers over the years. Now I have a YouTube channel where I analyse racing incidents in Formula 1. So I thought I'd introduce myself to all of you, of course, by breaking down some of your thrills and spills. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but honestly, after analysing a bit of your driving, I'm glad I'm not going to be bumping into any of you at the bar. It was Ayrton Senna who said, if you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver. And I can see what he's getting at, but that still doesn't mean you can make a lunge from 100 metres back going into the hairpin at Brands. And it seems some of you have been listening to Ayrton a little too carefully. So first of all, we're on board here with Neil Evans at Alton. He's got an absolutely incredible start, sending it up the inside of half of the field, turning into turn one here, going in pretty quick. Unfortunately, we made a bit of contact. Well held, Neil. Heading down to Cascades now. We're getting swamped a little bit because of the bad exit, but let's see what happens. Oh, we've got pinched, and that's very unfortunate there. So let's wind it back and actually take a look at how Neil got on here. First of all, an absolutely blinding start. We were overtaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 6 cars going into turn 1. Now the problem here is that the two green cars here, number 50 on the outside, Neil on the inside, the trajectory of the two angles is very far apart. It's very difficult to control that. Whereas if you're alongside each other, the other driver knows that you're there. Whereas car 50 likely didn't know that Neil had got such a super start and wasn't expecting to be lunged, and probably can't see him in a mirror anyway, or definitely can't see him in the mirror. So Neil here, probably you should have backed out of this a bit earlier, although I mean it was a heroic start into turn 1. I would have just given up a couple of metres and let the green car on his way. You could have maybe done him down to Cascades. However, you're now sideways, heading towards the big tree on the right hand side. That's not a good position to be in on the exit. And then you get a pretty bad run coming down here. So you've lost 1 position, 2 positions. They're coming from all angles. And then I have to say, mate, you're doing everything right here. And then number 95, I can't see your name, you seem to chop down a little bit. And then that pushes Neil into the yellow car on the right. And then I think it looks like it's broken Neil's steering arm, unfortunately. So that's the end of his race. Neil, great start. Could have backed out a little bit into turn 1, but after that, he did everything right, mate. Next up, we're on board with Neil again. Neil, I promise you, the whole session isn't all about you. This might be the last one, hopefully anyway. So here we are at Snetterton. Let's run it full speed. So you're getting a good run, coming up to the bomb hole. Oh, did you just get hit by something off that car? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. Are you okay? Okay, so here we are coming up to the bomb hole. 68 on the outside. It's a half move. You're going to have to back out of it, which you do. I've just seen you get off the throttle. Moving back across, misjudged it slightly because you've tagged him. So I think, Neil, you probably need to try and understand exactly how long that bonnet is on the Caterham, because we saw this in the last video as well. You were a couple of meters out. This one was a bit closer, so you are improving. However, you've tagged him, and you've also, seems to be just at the top of the screen there, a light? Yeah, a light coming right for your face. Did you get it in the neck? Oh, Neil, I hope you're okay. Bit sideways again, off the track, and looks like you live to fight another day. So here we are on board with Ben Winrow, looking to overtake 2021 champion Harry Senior, getting a good run coming off Druids. Harry dives down to the inside to defend, that's good job. Oh, but Ben disregards that completely, drives down the grass and overtakes Harry. That's a very good move. So let's take a look at that in slow motion. So Ben gets a good run. Harry's seen that. Very good defending, bringing the car down. Now, obviously, you don't want to defend too much here because you've only then got to go back over to the left-hand side to turn into the next turn. And it looks like at this point that Harry's done a good enough job. That gap there is smaller than the width of the Caterham, so it shouldn't be that Ben can get through. However, Ben seems to like a bit of the grass. He's literally got half of the car on the grass there. keeps his foot flat out, opens the door, and he's made it through. Absolutely brilliant overtaking manoeuvre there. Complete disregard for track limits. I like that a lot. And finally, we're on board with John Benfield at a very damp looking croft. So let's watch it in full speed. Heading down to the right-hander, on the brakes, locked up. Oh, it's turning, it's not turning. Into the wall. Oh, and he's brought his hands up for good effect. Okay, so I think it's quite obvious what John's done here. Got on the brakes a little bit too late, locked the fronts up. He's still trying to turn at this point, ever the optimist that we're going to be getting into the right-hander here. However, I think his eyes are focused on that barrier on the outside, because without a doubt, that is where he's heading. Already on the grass, there are some tyre marks, so somebody's obviously already made this mistake earlier in the day. John's still trying to turn even more. Good work, John. Very optimistic, but we're just heading onto the grass. And from that point, he's a passenger. But what I wanted to focus on was the hand movement. Is that shock? Is that surprise? Is it protection? Traditionally, most drivers would go for the belts across the chest. However, John's decided to do, maybe he's trying to do that little monkey emoji. I don't know, for the cameras or something. John, next time, get your hands across the belt. Very good for getting them off the wheel so you don't break your wrists, but get them away from your head, please. And so, before I make too many enemies, I'm going to stop there. I hope everyone has an absolutely wonderful evening. Congratulations on this last season, and I wish you well for the coming one. Cheers, and good night.